Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to the Blues of July 2016. This month's shout out is going to the cartoon collector. He is a Dutch YouTuber, and you gotta help your fellow countrymen sometimes. And he has a very nice channel, very nice videos, and he's definitely nice enough to subscribe to. So go ahead and go check him out and give him a sub. The Cartoon Collector. You know where to find the link. Well, the first 5 titles that I'm about to show you are DVDs that I got in a trade. And the first one is Flatliners, which I haven't seen in a long time. They're gonna do a remake of this with Kiefer Sutherland, so that could be interesting. You never know. The other one is Kingpin. The last time I had this in my collection was on VHS. Excuse me. The last time I had this in my collection, I'm stuttering, and I'm losing my voice. It was on VHS, and that was also the last time when I saw this movie. So I can't wait to check these out again. Chrysalis. Or Chrysalis, perhaps I should call it that way, because this is a French sci-fi action thriller, and I don't know anything about this one. If any of you have seen this, let me know what you think. But this could be good. This could be good. This is good, by the way. The Polish Bride, which is the the English title, a Dutch film about a Polish woman who works as a prostitute, but she managed to escape from her pimps, and she winds up on the land of this, of a farmer, and he kind of take care of her, and they start to fall in love with each other. But then the pimps find out where she is and going after her. But it's really good film. It's just a shame that this is the transfer on this is very poor. They should do a remastered version. Hopefully one day that will happen. And the 5th and final DVD that I got in the trade is Mad Dog and Glory, which I enjoyed a lot. It was directed by John McNaughton, who also did Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Next up is Final Score. Now, if you love movies that are so bad they're good, this is really something for you. Chris Mitchum, who is Robert Mitchum's son, by the way, he plays a Vietnam veteran who lives quiet, happy life in Indonesia with his wife and his son. But then his wife and his son are brutally murdered by this criminal gang, and he seeks revenge. And that's pretty much the story, just a plain old simple revenge story. But the action in this movie is insane. Crazy action, crazy stunts, and there is one stunt at the end of the movie that involved a motorcycle and a helicopter. And I just had to laugh out loud when I saw that scene. You can see it still here of this picture. There's the motorcycle. But I really enjoyed it. I've never seen this movie before, but it's known as a cult classic. But this movie was released thanks to a successful crowdfunding campaign that was put out by the guys behind the movie podcast, The Gentleman's Guide to Midnight Cinema. And they had help with OMG Entertainment, which is a Dutch company. And I also got this DVD from that company. You can see the logo here on the back. But you can also get this on Diabolic DVD, by the way. But they put out different releases. This is the the normal release, which is limited to 1,500. They also put out a hard box, which is more expensive. This was about 10 euros, by the way. The hard box is around 26, 27 euros. But that one is limited to 500. But I chose this one because I like the artwork, by the way. And it has a alternative artwork, you can see there. And a very nice artwork on the disc itself. And also some writings about the history of the director in the movie. So that's a very nice set here. Oh look, my name is on the dead list. That's very disturbing. Anyway, really enjoyed it, and this film was directed by Arizal. I think he was the most popular filmmaker in Indonesia. He directed 58 movies in total, made over 1,000 episodes of 8 different soap operas. So he was quite a productive person. And as far as I know, this is the second of his films that are released on DVD. The other one that has been released on DVD, the Stabilizer, I believe that one was put out by Troma. And this is not the first time that Arizal and Chris Mitchum worked together. I believe this is their second movie. A year before this one, they made a movie called American Hunter. That one is only available on VHS, as far as I know. But speaking of Mitchum, he was never as good as his father. He never had a career as his father. He did a couple of American films, including a few with John Wayne, Big Jake, and Rio Lobo. But he made movies pretty much all over the world. He made movies in 14 different countries, including in Indonesia. Unfortunately, the picture quality is nothing to write home about, which isn't these guys' fault, by the way, who released this movie on DVD, because the best print that they could find is an analog print. So don't expect a great looking transfer. But hey, it wasn't for them, this movie would still be available on VHS. So there you go. Okay, next one is a double feature DVD from Wild East. It contains May God Forgive You, I Won't. And this is Massacre at Canyon Grande, which I believe was co-directed by Sergio Corbucci. Was it? Yeah, it is. Sergio Corbucci directed this one with Albert Band, the father of Charles Band, the guy from Full Moon Entertainment. And this one stars James Mitchum, another son of Robert Mitchum, who also made movies around the world. I haven't seen both of these movies yet, but you know me, I love my spaghetti westerns. But this looks like a nice set there. Here's some other releases from the same company, Wild East. Don't really like these, echo cases. But anyway. And here's another title from Wild East, It Can Be Done, Amigo, which stars the great and unfortunately since recently late Bud Spencer and Jack Palance. Still need to check this one out as well, but this looks like fun. There's a look at the inside. And speaking of Bud Spencer, this is one of the many films that he made with Terence Hill. I found this at a flea market for 50 cents, so you cannot go wrong for that price. It's almost for nothing, and the movie was okay. It's average, I mean, I prefer the spaghetti western that these two guys have made. Like the Trinity movies and Ace High, Boot Hill, movies like that. And by the way, this one was directed by Bruno Corbucci, who is the brother, or he was the brother, I have to say, of Sergio Corbucci. He made several films with Spencer and Hill, and he co-directed this film with Luciano Vincenzoni, who also is the screenwriter of For a Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and Duck You Sucker. And I got this very nice DVD box set, which contains Village of the Damned, the original version, and the sequel, Children of the Damned. I like both movies, by the way. The original one is better, but Children of the Damned is not a bad movie. Definitely not. Here's a look at the first one. And here is the second one. Obviously, the second one was made with a much lower budget than this one. But I thought, I really enjoyed both of them. I like both of them. They're pretty good. And I also picked up John Carpenter's remake of Village of the Damned. Now, it's difficult to say which one I prefer, this one or the original. I think at this moment I would say that I like both of them, equally. But I think John Carpenter did a terrific job with the remake. And it's a fine release, by the way, by Scream Factory. And I also picked up, excuse me, another Scream Factory release, The Serpent and the Remo, which I haven't seen in ages. I really need to revisit this one someday soon. Yeah, I've seen it many times, back in the day, early 90s, the days of VHS. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm still gonna like this one. Now, as most of you know, Arrow had a sale recently, and of course I could not restrain myself, so I picked up quite a few titles from Arrow. First one is Rififi, which is simply a masterpiece. This is arguably the best heist film ever made. Directed by Jules Dassin, who made this one, after he got blacklisted, and he went to Europe and started to make movies there, and this was his first European movie. What happened to him is outrageous, of course, the blacklist and all that shit. But then I thought, if he wasn't blacklisted, he would probably have never made this film, right? Perhaps somebody else might have made it, because I read somewhere that Jean-Pierre Melville was the first director they approached to make this film, but he turned it down, and later on, I believe he regretted turning it down, and then he made his own heist film, which was Le Cercle Rouge, which is also a terrific film, by the way. But, like I said, if Dassin was not blacklisted, we would never have, this movie would never have been made, or it would have been made by another director, and it would probably never have been as good as it is now. But anyway, wonderful release by Arrow, by the way. Rififi, absolutely love this film. Brilliant film. La Grande Boeuf, which is a movie I've never seen before. But it sounded like the kind of movie I should have seen before, And the director, Marco Ferreri, I'm not familiar with this man. I should be familiar with him, but I'm not familiar with him. I've never seen one of his films. This will be the first one. But if you look at a featurette, this one, extract from the stormy 1973 Cannes press conference, if you look at that, you get a good idea of what kind of a man he was. He was kind of really a rebel, And I like those kind of directors, the kind of directors who would break the rules and doesn't give a shit and all that. But I'm very much looking forward to check this movie out. This is a childhood favorite of mine, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the 8th Dimension. Love it. It's just cheesy, early 80s fun. They were planning to do a sequel, but unfortunately this movie was a a flop at the American box office, so they never did a sequel. However, I actually read that Kevin Smith and Amazon are going to be working together on, I believe, was it a TV series based on Buckaroo Banzai? I'm not really sure if it's a TV series or movies. I believe it was a series, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. But it would be nice if they brought back the original cast, Peter Weller and Jeff Goldblum and all that. But I think they're gonna do a new, younger cast. But who knows? It might be fun. Night Riders, which is a really good film by George A. Romero. Kind of a very unusual kind of film, of course. We all know Romero from his zombie movies, but this is sort of an original take on the King Arthur story. A wonderful film, and a wonderful release from Arrow. Milano Calibro 9, one of Fernando Di Leo's best film, without doubt. This is a great combination between classic film noir and polizioteschi, the subgenre, or the Italian police film, Italian crime films, and it works. It absolutely works. And Fernando Di Leo, he was what Sergio Leone was for the spaghetti western, Di Leo was for the Italian crime films. He was a master in doing these films, and this is, like I said, one of his best, without a doubt. Motel Hell, which is a movie I still need to check out, believe it or not. So I can't tell you much about it, but it looks like fun. That's Rory Culhane. Yeah. He did a few American westerns back in the day. He also did a few Italian sword and sandal movies, including The Colossus of Rhodes, which is an early Sergio Leone film. But I can't wait to check this one out. Pit Stop, which was really good. I think it's an exceptionally strong little film by Jack Hill, and I love Jack Hill. He has never disappointed me. I have not seen all of his movies, but so far he has not disappointed me. I think he was a terrific writer and director. A quick look at the back there, or the inside. Sorry about that. But it's an excellent movie. It's an excellent movie. The ending was really good and very daring as well. Excellent movie. Rollerball. This is actually an upgrade to the Twilight Time Blu-ray. This one has more extras and all that. Great film. And the last Arrow video that I got, or Arrow video Blu-ray that I got, is Requiescant, which comes from Requiescant in Pace, which is Latin for rest in peace, or May Day, rest in peace. But this is a very decent spaghetti western, and I absolutely love this artwork. I mean, just look at that. I want to have a poster of this. Wonderful artwork. And this movie also stars Pier Paolo Pasolini, who is the director of Salo, the 120 Days of Sadism. Was that the entire title? I forgot about that, sorry. But we all know Salo, right? It's probably the most controversial film ever made. But it's like I said, very decent spaghetti western. I wouldn't say it's one of the best spaghetti westerns that I've seen, but it's definitely worth checking out. Next one is a fantastic western, Man of the West. by Anthony Mann. This guy only made fantastic westerns, by the way. Most of them are with James Stewart. The Naked Spur, Winchester 73, The Man from Laramie, all that. But this is a fine film. I thought Gary Cooper was just terrific in this one, and Lee J. Cobb is always terrific. However, I do have to say that I think Cooper was miscast. I mean, he was just too old for the role. I mean, I believe he was about 20 years older than his character, and Cooper himself actually felt the same way. He felt that he was too old, but despite that, it doesn't ruin the movie for me. It's a great film, absolutely great film, and a wonderful release by the cinema series, the cinema Masters of Cinema. Jesus, I can't talk right now. The Masters of Cinema series by Iruka. Yeah, fine release. Man of the West. And the next one is Cat in the Brain by Lucio Fulci. Now this is such a wonderful, wonderful set from Grindhouse Releasing. They did a terrific job on that. And you can see it is slightly embossed, but this is this glows in the dark. The skull, and I don't know if my camera can catch it, but here it says Fulci lives. That's right. You can see lives here a little bit. Very hard to see that. And also on the back there's some images that glows in the dark. This one, for example, and this, the eyes, and this. This is actually a skull that is superimposed on this man's head. It also glows in the dark. But it's such an amazing release by Grindhouse. And the movie is definitely not one of Fulci's best. To be honest, it's quite a mess, and it's trying very hard to be a smart satire, but it just failed doing that. And I'm pretty sure that some of you might not like me for this, but I thought the movie was boring at times. And I don't like saying that because I love Fulci, I love his films. However, the gore is fantastic, of course. And this release by Grindhouse makes it all good, really. I mean, it's such a wonderful, wonderful release. There's a nice card there, and also had the booklet here. Yeah, great release, great release. I'm still want to get the Beyond, which is one of my favorite Fulci films that Grindhouse has put out. I still want to get that one. And the soundtrack, by the way, and I haven't mentioned the soundtrack, but it's the soundtrack from the movie. But yeah, just an amazing release. Disappointing movie, but an amazing release. Next up is Green Room, which is, in my opinion, one of the best films of the year. Really phenomenal film, and definitely not for the faint of heart. I mean, it's quite a brutal film as well. And it's about this punk rock band who performs in this nightclub where the visitors are only neo-Nazis. It's a neo-Nazi nightclub. And but then they are witnesses of a murder, and they barricade themselves inside the green room, and they're trying to get out, trying to survive from this, nasty gangs of neo-Nazis and all that. But it's it's a phenomenal film, and what a damn shame of what happened to Anton Yelchin. I mean, it's very sad, very tragic. And very young, he was just way too young. And he was truly a talented actor, and he showed that again in this film. He was really good in this film. But the real show stealer, in my opinion, is this man, Patrick Stewart. It's a very surprising role of him. You know, it's a very dark, very nasty character that he plays in this film, and he does a terrific job at it. But yeah, it's a phenomenal film, Green Room. Go check this out if you haven't done it yet. And I also got this ditchy book with the lenticular cover, as you can see, of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition. Now, after the disappointment that was Man of Steel, I absolutely had no high hopes for this one. But I ended up being one of the very few people who actually liked this film, believe it or not. I do understand why people were disappointed by this one. I mean, it's called Batman v Superman, and there isn't much Batman v Superman in it, isn't it? Let's just sort of call it Dawn of Justice. You know, it would have been much more appropriate that way. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. I mean, certainly it has flaws. And, I mean, there was one scene that I actually did not understand. It was Bruce Wayne's post-apocalyptic nightmare sequence, which looks very cool, but it didn't make any sense. And then right after that, you saw the Flash, and he said something like, "I'm too soon, but you're right about him, fear him," and all that kind of stuff. But I think it will be explained in Justice League, you know, which is another problem that many people had of this movie. It was too much of a setup to Justice League. You know, it wasn't really a movie that could stand on its own, which is another thing I do understand. But you know, like I said, I liked it. It wasn't as bad as people say it was. We'll take a quick look at the inside of this ditchy book, by the way. But Ben Affleck, I thought he was great as Batman. It is definitely the most badass Batman so far. Henry Cavill, you know, he was good. I think he's the best Superman since Christopher Reeve, really. And Gal Gadot, she was wonderful as Wonder Woman. I can't wait to see more of her in the next DC movie that are coming out next year. Oh, I loved Lawrence Fishburne in this film. He was great. Very little screen time, but every time he was on screen, he just blew everyone away. He was absolutely fantastic in this film. And here is Jesse Eisenberg. You know, he wasn't as annoying as most people say he was, to be honest with you. But I rather would have saw Bryan Cranston playing Lex Luthor. You know, there were rumors that he might be Lex Luthor, although Jesse Eisenberg plays the son of Lex Luthor. So perhaps in one of the future movies, Bryan Cranston might be playing Lex Luthor Sr., you know. Quite possible. And another actor I absolutely loved in this film was Jeremy Irons, who plays Alfred. And he's a completely different Alfred than than before. You know, this is an Alfred who is a technical genius with a military background, and I love that. I think, you know, what they have done with this Alfred is fantastic. In my opinion, it's the best Alfred so far. You know, this is a very nice look of Gal Gadot. Yeah. Doomsday. Very nice release, this one. Absolutely very nice release. And I saw both versions. I saw the theatrical version at the cinema, and I saw the extended version yesterday, which is the best version. If I had to choose between the two, the extended version is definitely the best one. It's more complete and more, more in depth. You know what I mean? But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it, and it's definitely not as bad as people say it is. Batman v Superman. And that was it for my July update. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.